Okay, what to do when you get stupid questions on eBay if you are a seller. I've gotten my fair share. This topic comes up because Joe, the Crazy New York driver, was talking about it here on YouTube. He does a show every Friday on eBay topics. And one of the stupid questions that you could get if you're a seller is, what's the lowest you will go? And I just got a question like that just today. What's the lowest you will go? And we're talking about a $10 item. So let me go ahead and read you what this potential buyer, eBay buyer, told me. Okay, he says, hello, will this work with the Toshiba P35 laptop? What's the least you will take for it? I have an older laptop that I'm trying to fix. Okay, so same thing. What's the lowest you will go? Not, hey, can you take 10 bucks for it or whatever. Now, we're talking about an $11 item here. Okay. So there's not much profit after you ship and the commission to begin with. All right, so I just reply back. I don't even answer that part of the question. I said, yes, it will. Basically, it's a part that goes into a laptop. And I said, yes, it will work. You'll just need an operating system like Windows XP. Okay, I thought that maybe would shut him up. I just ignored his what your lowest will go question. So then he says, so it works, no problem. Well, did you read the listing? Yes, it does show that it works. So why are you asking me again the same question that I reiterated in the initial description of the item? Then he says, what's the least you can take for it? Question mark. So automatically I'm like, I was trying to blow him off, and to be honest with you, I rephrased what I had written for the response. One was a little bit really smart, was like, you know, why don't you go to Walmart and ask them what's the lowest they'll take on bread. And I was trying to make this as least smart alecky as I could possibly. But I thought this was okay. I says, so what do you think is fair on a $10 item, considering I'm a business? Have to pay for shipping and packaging. Spend the time answering questions and shipping it out. What do you think is fair? And so he responds back, well, there's another item just like yours that's for $2 more, but it's twice the size. And I'm like, and then I responded back to him, I'm like, great. I says, you should take that offer. It just so happens that was my item, the one that was higher. And he noticed and he was like, haha, I just realized that was yours too. But anyways, what I did here, I immediately blocked the guy. I do not want to do business with him. Even if he pays full price, I do not want to do business with this guy. Why? The buyer, the eBay buyers especially, that ask questions, especially too many of them, they will always be a problem. I would say like 90%. You could just bank on it. The good buyers is the ones that keep their mouth shut, orders, and you never hear from them again. They're like silent as a church mouse. Those are the buyers you want. Okay? I have learned not to chase buyers because they will always be the nightmare. Sprint, the phone company, I remember for mobile. I remember a few years back I heard a report where they had literally stopped doing business with like several thousands of their customers. They just canceled their contract. They're like, we're not going to do business with you anymore. Because what they did was they did a survey and they realized that the same 10% of the mobile customers that Sprint had was calling in and asking millions of questions and giving them the biggest headache. Whereas the 90% wasn't even asking any questions. So what do? They sent out a letter to those 10% of the Sprint customers and they're like, we don't want to do business with you again. We're done. Okay, and so with eBay or any online business, you need to have the same mentality. Especially if you're an online business and it's just you or your partner or whatever. Because you only have so much time in the day. Think about how much time I'm spending going back and forth over a $10 laptop item. It's ridiculous. And so I would recommend that you let the market of supply and demand dictate what the price is. And guess what? If you don't sell it to this guy, you will sell it to the next person down the road a week later. And you won't have any headache for it. As a matter of fact, you might be able to charge more for it. Okay, so that was one. Okay, and here's another one right before I went on vacation a couple of weeks ago. And I was kicking myself after I did it because the voice told me not to do it. All right, so here's one. This is for a Sony product that I have, and I have multiple of them. So I have more than one. I usually keep 40 in stock, and it's a higher price item. It's like a $120 item. And so this guy writes, "Does your Sony videotape converter work with Panasonic model number blah blah blah? Thanks." Okay, and then I respond to this question here. I'm like, yes, it does. Okay. A week later, he asks another question. I have $93. Can I buy this item with you? I'm a senior with disability. Thanks. Okay. Now, he sent me this question right before I was going on vacation. And I was about to get my items out, right? And I sort of wanted to pad my sales for that day because I was going on vacation. I wasn't going to get, I was going to put my store on vacation. So I thought, why not? I'm still making a pretty nice profit for $93. Let me just go ahead and sell it to him. And sure enough, as soon as I printed the label and I put it, I thought, you know what? He's going to return it. He's going to return this item. And with every single one of my items that I ship out, I put a letter in there with my phone number, my personal cell phone number. And I say, if there's any issue whatsoever, you call me. Please do not send a return. Do not request a return. Contact me first. Okay, I do that for two reasons. Number one, I do it to maybe help them with a technical issue that they may have, and I do that number one. Or I tell them, to message me if you can't call me or text me. And then number two, I put that in there because I try to minimize the impact of their return. So in other words, if they want to return it just because it doesn't fit, I want them to put that instead of it's damaged or not know if it's not as described. You do not want those. You'll get a defect and whatever. So I try to minimize it, and with my selling, I try with phone calls I can minimize the damage if they do want to return it. So I always put my phone number in there, and I did that with this item. So, but I knew as soon as I shipped that out and I went on vacation halfway across the world, I'm like, this guy's going to return the item. I'm going to have to end up paying to ship it to him, and then I'm going to have to pay to have it shipped back to me. Sure enough, in the middle of my vacation, I'm bathing in the sun, listening to music, and I look on my cell phone, and lo and behold, look what I get. And by the way, with this 93, what I did was I sent him an offer through the message that I would take 93. So, lo and behold, bing. The buyer's returning this item. Per eBay's policy, we automatically blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. First of all, he was asking too many questions. And number two, he didn't say, oh, what's the lowest you will take? But he was lowballing, with a lower offer. Those people are the worst to do business with. And guess what? I looked at his account, and guess what? He has a store with multiple items. If he's on disability and retired, well, he sure does a lot of work for someone that's on disability because he had a lot of items in his store. Okay, so another headache that I could have just avoided by not answering his question and potentially just blocking him. And so sure enough, I had to eat the shipping to get the item, or to get him the item and then get it back. Okay, my advice to you is if you have people asking you a lot of questions, or even one that's inappropriate, like what's the lowest you take, block them, but then respond with something like, well, I can't help you or whatever. Normally I would just block them, but I started realizing with the analytics and your sales rankings that it's good to answer the questions. Because if you don't answer the questions, then eBay considers that lower in the analytical search column. Like you're not a responsive seller. They like when you answer questions. So I always answer questions, even if it's a one-line or whatever. I try to be nice, if possible, and not be a smart aleck because it is just business. But, you need to be like Sprint. You need to cut these people out of your life because there'll be nothing but a headache. They'll take 90% of your time and give you 5% of your profit, if that. You know, you'd be better to take the item that these people are asking all these questions about and hawk it in the trash. It would save you time and the heartache and the shipping instead of dealing with them. Okay. Golden rule. If people ask too many questions, you block them. You never sell to someone to say, what's the lowest you will go? And, you know, as a seller, you gotta be more precise, and you gotta be slick and precise. Alright, thanks for watching.